Hello, here we go. It's the Klopp podcast.
What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Klopp podcast. It's Mick once again, and I'm joined today by Chef Dave Critchley. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Mick. How are you?
Yeah, sounds. Just getting a nice little glimpse of the work attire and the work background and that.
Yeah, we're in the food lab at Luban restaurant at the moment. Yeah, I've just been doing a cook-off this afternoon. Just in time for the podcast. So excited to be here.
Nice one, appreciate it. Yeah, we'll get on to Luban a bit later, but just wanted to basically just start at the beginning, basically, and how you got into the chef world and all that.
It's a long time ago now, that, Mick. At the age of 15, I just went to my local pub, the Halfway House in Chilwell, big football pub there actually, and asked for a job for the weekend, on Saturday, Sunday job, just for a bit of money in my back pocket. And that was pretty much it. I stayed there while I was in school, right the way through my GCSEs, then A-levels. I was still working there at the weekends. Then I went to college to go and do art foundation course, but I was still at the pub every weekend. And by this point, I'm kind of like 19, effectively just running the pub, the kitchen on my 2 days that I would work, a Saturday, Sunday. And then I went to university out in Wales. What I wanted to do was illustration and graphics. So I went out to Wales to study there in North Wales, but I was still travelling back every weekend to work in the pub and running the pub. Certainly the kitchen side of the pub when I come back. I finished university and there was no jobs in graphics or illustration anywhere in the UK. So it was pretty simple for me just to drop straight back into the kitchens full time until some jobs came up. Obviously that was the plan, but as you can see, a good few years later, I never went back to illustration. I've remained in kitchens. I moved on. I moved around, certainly in the northwest, mainly Liverpool, a little bit of Manchester, Maghull, Ormskirk. Just trying to work in the best places I could and keep learning. Got all my qualifications on the job. And never really looked back, to be honest. Just fell in love with kitchens from day one. The absolute carnage that happens in kitchens and the absolute craziness that happens in hospitality. You either love it or hate it, and I was one of them that just instantly fell in love with it. So I still get to be creative. I still get to create dishes. My art is all on the plates now. So that was a good long time ago. That now I've been doing this. Next year will be my 25th year in hospitality. So, I know I don't look that young or that old, sorry.
I was going to say, because for me sins, I spent fucking 6 years at Wetherspoon. So I know that just a small part of my life was doing that. So I know how hard. I wasn't in the kitchen. I was doing bar stuff, but running food and all that stuff. I know how hard that is for a small period, and obviously not on the same level as you, but it's hard graft. So the fact that you've stuck through it and you've got to where you are, that's just a testament to the hard work and the dedication as well, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's two things you just have to have in abundance: is a great work ethic, hard work, and a dedication to it. Because you give up everything. You give up a life. You give up your weekends. You give up Christmases, birthdays, Valentines. Any day when most normal people are celebrating or enjoying themselves, you're not, because you're helping them to celebrate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot, missed a lot over those years, but as I said, you put the hard work in, eventually it should pay off.
Yeah, and you just said on the degree, so was it a children's book illustration degree, was it? Was that what it was? So that's pretty cool though.
It is cool. It's niche as well. There was only one place in the entire country doing it. It just happened to be Wrexham, which is that's a whole other podcast. That Wrexham.
Fucking yeah.
I used to. Yeah, that was crazy times living in Wrexham. I used to play footy up there as well for the university, and that was mental. That was again, probably for another podcast. That, but yeah, I enjoyed it and hated it in equal measures. Wrexham, I was happy to come back again to Liverpool. But yeah, children's book and illustration. I eventually, when I get too old for this, would like to do something combining the two together. Maybe there's a kid's book on the way. We'll see. Yeah, we will see.
No, that sounds perfect, to be fair. But yeah, just you mentioned like Luban and stuff. I just wanted to like, so I've done my research. This is off the BBC website though, so I've got, this might not be in order though. So I just wanted to, so Alma de Cuba and Australasia, were they? So Alma de Cuba first, but then you went to Australasia after that.
Yeah, so I did Alma Cuba. I was there for about 7 years, to be honest. Not just in Alma de Cuba itself, but we had several different sites at the time. So worked my way up kind of from junior. So before that, I took my first head chef job at 23 on Lark Lane. It's probably a bit too soon for me, and I nearly killed myself there. Not literally, sorry guys, but I mean, I worked myself into the ground. I was working every single day. I must have been about 6 stone, do you know what I mean? I lost loads of weight, just work, trying to make something special. On my first head chef's job, I wanted to make an impression. Eventually decided, after about a year there, that I needed something else. I needed a change. I needed to step back a little bit. So I went to Alma de Cuba, which at the time was one of Liverpool's best restaurants. Used to win awards every year. Fantastic, fresh Cuban-style food I'd never seen before. So I went there as like junior sous chef. I worked my way back up the ranks again. So I took a step back so I could learn more again. I worked my way up to head chef at Alma de Cuba. And for those that haven't been, most people in Liverpool know it, but it's a beautiful old building, converted to church, but really busy. I mean, you can have 800 people downstairs in the bar. You can have several hundred people upstairs at once, do you know what I mean, eating in the restaurant. So, and it was really good. I then went with that same company and went and opened up a few other restaurants for them. So I would be their head chef in the Noble House, which was where the Alchemist is now on Water Street. We had a place in Formby, we opened that. And we had the Dovedale Towers, was the same company. Down Allerton Ways, I think that was it. Negresco as well on Lark Lane. So there was about 4 or 5 units at one point. I did about 7 years for them, and then I went to the London Carriage Works. So I took over from Mr. Paul Askew. He'd been there for about 10 years, and then he was wanting to go and open the art school, and I took over from him at the Carriage Works. Was there for 4 years. And then I thought I'd kind of hit a ceiling in Liverpool. There was nowhere else for me to really move on to. I always wanted to progress. I always wanted to learn more, push myself. So I went out as far as Manchester. Down to 62, off to Manchester. Australasia was a big Asian, Pan-Asian, Japanese themed restaurant. Really beautiful restaurant. You should go if you ever get the chance. It's just, still a stunning restaurant now. I did a couple of years there for them, and then I got the phone call from Luban, and that was a life-changing phone call. Initially, it went something like this: "Hi, it's such and such. We are opening a Chinese restaurant in Liverpool. Would you like to head it up?" To which I just said, "No, thank you." Honestly, I was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm all right. So thank you," because there is a connotation, there is there's a kind of notion of what Chinese food is in this country, and it's completely wrong, but it's what we know, it's what we've grown up on. So, and at the time I was like, why would I want to go and do that? Anyway, once the project was spelled out to me, I had to sign on a dotted line. I was come back to Liverpool, open this beautiful restaurant that we have here, £1.8 million restaurant. Top of the range kitchen, but apart from that, it was, you're going to go out to China, you're going to spend time in China, you're going to study with some of the top chefs in that region, you're going to experience the culture, the language, the food, and you're going to bring that back to the UK. That's what we're about. We're not just a normal Chinese restaurant that everyone thinks. This is what we're going to be doing. And I was just like, yeah, that sounds amazing. Definitely doing that. That's just something that never really happens for a chef. Not someone saying, we'll just fly you out to another country and you go and just take it all in, see it all, experience it all. It's just, chance in a million, 1 in a million. So, so we did that. and here we are now today. So yeah, incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and just like on because I obviously watched the when you were on Paddy's pod, that was a belter, that and just talking about like you going out to China and stuff, and that just sounded amazing. Like just having the opportunity to go and like just experience like their way of life and stuff, that must have been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just life changing. You go there with certain preconceptions in your mind, and they're just blown out the water when you get to China. Probably the same with every country in the world. We all think we know, and we just don't. We've got no idea until you've been there and seen it and tasted it and smelled it and experienced it all. Yeah, we're just completely clueless. Yeah, it's an incredible country. Really is. Just light years ahead of us over here. Honestly, you come back here and you're suddenly like, oh wow, it's like the Dark Ages. But yeah, beautiful it was. Great people out there as well. Made me feel like an absolute king while I was out there. But mainly was obviously the food experience. The kind of journey I went on out there was phenomenal.
Yeah, and like just like a Scouse fella from Chilwell, and all of a sudden you're like cooking like this Chinese food, like from the initial conversation where you were like, nah, swerve that, I'm not gonna do that to what you are now. And just like the whole like being Master Wu and all that, like the apprentice, like being the was it the final apprentice or whatever, or something like that.
So it's quite a big deal when you have a master of skills, and that could be in martial arts, or it could be in food, or it could be in any of their arts, their sacred arts that the Chinese hold dear to them. And it's very much a bit of a Mr. Miyagi thing here. So I've got a teacher, my Shifu, my teacher, or my master. While I was out there, he was my host for the 3-4 weeks I was out there, taking me around, showing me things, teaching me his dishes. And then when I came home, we had this amazing letter from Master Wu saying how impressed he was with me, how eager I was to kind of learn and take things on and experience the culture. And he decided to make me his final apprentice, which basically means, to be made an apprentice of his is a big deal anyway. But in China, to be the final apprentice has a kind of unique, it's a special level. So I'm the final one. I'm the last person he'll train before he kind of retires and hangs up his apron or whatever it is. And all of his learning through his whole career will come to me, be passed down to me. So, and as far as we're aware, it's the first time a Westerner's ever been invited into that kind of inner circle. So my technical title is the world's first Western apprentice to a Chinese master chef. Bit of a mouthful, but there you go. And then I'm training at the moment. I'm hoping to complete my master chef qualifications shortly, which should make me the world's first non-Chinese master chef, which again, pretty cool. Just from some lad who started washing the dishes in Chilwell when he was 15.
Jesus Christ, yeah, you'll have to you just have to have like see your name and then just like loads of little bits under it, like final apprentice.
In Mandarin.
yeah. Oh no, that's boss. But yeah, just on like I mentioned, like the Paddy pod, like just want to ask you like what that was like. Was that how was Paddy as a fella? And I've been trying to get Paddy on the pod. I haven't quite got him on yet, but like he just seems like a. Is he the same as what he is on like the telly and that? I imagine he's the same, isn't he?
Yeah. I was going to say you got no chance of getting him on now.
I know, yeah, no
he's
chance.
He's globe-trotting. Paddy. I kind of met Paddy a couple of years ago, and after his fights, he will come here. He'll come to Luban for something to eat. We've done that for a few of his last few fights, but he's brilliant. And just really down to earth. So what you see is generally what you get with Paddy, which I just like that about him. Like literally, there's no ulterior motives or anything like that. It's just Paddy being Paddy. So yeah, the podcast was great. I think we chatted for hours on that. We were just chatting away about food. Obviously, he loves his food. He's a big fan.
You're right. Have you ever seen? Have you seen his?
He can eat. We'll just leave it there. He can eat.
I was just gonna say, like, I've saw like obviously his YouTube channel, and like he'll like there's been like I watched one recently. He went over to Dublin, and he was just like ordering like fucking like 4 mains, like 3 starters, 3 desserts, and he was actually eating it all. And I was like,
Yeah,
fucking
he
can't
puts
believe
it
it.
all away, and you're thinking there's no chance we can eat this. We just kept bringing food out and kept bringing food out, and he was just putting it away until at one point he said, right, I'm okay now, I'm done. And I was just like, right, I am not surprised. But now, what's been nice to see is certainly recently how he's been using his platform for good, to talk about mental health, to talk about men talking to each other and getting problems out, and I think that's brilliant. I'm just seeing like he's taken over the world, and I wish him every success because he's a great lad, and I think we're just starting to see. It's almost like I'm watching him grow up, and it's dead nice to see. Do you know what I mean? Like actually just maturing and becoming this, like a really good fella, like as well. So I wish him all the success. I've not got a bad word to say about Paddy.
Oh, boss. Yeah, he seems like just an absolute legend, just like calling people like lizards on like just after he's beat someone. Just like just proper hilarious, you know.
Yeah, he's good lad.
But just on the back of that then, so when I was watching that that pod, and obviously that was probably like, was it like 6-7 months ago? It was a couple of months ago, wasn't it? So when I watched it at the time, and as I was like watching it, I was like Dave should do his own podcast. That was what I was thinking. Then I was getting into the comments, and people were saying the same thing, and I was like you just mentioned about like maybe combining your degree with the food. As a podcast ever been discussed maybe to do in the future?
Yes, I'm probably in, I don't know, the very start stages of like planning something. So there has been a couple of conversations. I don't know if you saw, we had the Have a Word podcast guys did a takeover at Luban Restaurant. That should be, I think that's out this week actually. That's going to be absolutely amazing. But while we were filming that, I was speaking to Adam and just being like, right, just trying to get little snippets of information off him, because if anyone's doing podcasts right, you know what I mean, they're smashing it at the moment, aren't they? So, and there's some fantastic local podcasts, yourselves included. There's some great comedians, football ones, music ones, but I'm not really seeing any food ones. Do you know what I mean? So I do have a concept, and now it's just about bringing it together and see if it'll work. So keep an eye out in 2023. I think January we'll film our pilot and we'll see how we get on with it. But if you can imagine, we'll probably sit down, have a few drinks, have something to eat, and then we'll just be talking about all the kind of food challenges you see on TikTok and Instagram. We'll probably be getting people in to try them out, see how they go down. We'll probably go out and do some reviews, but in a slightly different format. So there is plans. We'll see how the pilot goes down, and then if there is an interest and people genuinely want to see it, then we'll do some more.
I'd be amazed if no one's interested in that, because even just you saying that sounds amazing. Like we had I chatted to Simon Rimmer recently, and he does his called Grilling, where he gets like other famous chefs on and just like talks food and stuff, and even that is just like so interesting to get an insight into like the mindset of like someone who's like all this hard work and they've got to a level where they're so good at what they do, and it's just I just think it's fascinating. So something like that where you're going out and you're doing challenges or whatever. I don't know if you've seen actually I think I saw this, what's his name, Scouse Ghetto Gourmet, didn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he pop up by Luban as well?
Yeah, he's been a couple of times. He's good lad, Jerome, as well. So but I love collaborating with local people like this, and just I think it's only a good thing. I think if anything, lockdown and all that crap we put behind us taught us we have to work together. And I just think collaborating with people like that, it only helps your business. It helps them. It helps me. It helps the business. So love doing anything where we're joining different people together. So my idea will be, although I'm very much food hospitality led, there'll be guests from all different kind of spheres of life, because everyone has food stories to talk about. Everybody is that's probably one common denominator, really. We all need to eat food to survive. So everyone's going to have a phobia or a food hell and a food heaven. So that's what we'll be kind of delving into, hopefully.
Oh, that sounds class. I look forward to that one. I'm sure if people are watching or listening, they'll be looking forward to that as well. That sounds class. But just on you said there, you mentioned lockdown and stuff, and unfortunately that ties a little bit into Luban, because obviously you just started Luban, hadn't you, when lockdown kind of kicked in? That must have been really, really difficult.
Yeah, I'd probably say the 3 years we've done here at Luban, because we've literally just had our 3rd birthday, have been the toughest I've ever had to do in this industry in 25 years. Literally, I'd say every single obstacle that we faced, or we could have faced, we had to face it, and we had to kind of work our way over it or around it or whatever. So, but it has shaped us massively. So it's a huge part of our history at Luban, to be fair. I'd like to think that we did okay through lockdown. We survived, and you said we're going to talk a little bit about the charity work we did and things like that. So we managed to, once we knew we were safe and secure, we managed to make a difference out in the community, which was a big deal for us. So yeah, so much as I resent those 3 years, or the 2 years, sorry, we were in lockdown, 1.5 years, I think it was, they did very much shape where Luban is now, and very much part of our history. So we can't ignore it, really. Yeah, it was. We'll go back to the beginning. On that first day, we decided to close. I mean, there was tears, because we'd spent so long. We put so many hours into getting set up, to getting launched, to creating this presence, to getting this brand new brand on the stage in Liverpool. And I wouldn't say it was a gamble what we did, but what we brought to Liverpool was a whole new style of Chinese food that no one had ever seen before. So we were coming up against that already. The fact that people in Liverpool think they know Chinese food, and they do to an extent, but they've only seen one style of Chinese food, and that is the British westernized Scouse Chinese food. That's what you've seen. When you come to someone and go, well, actually, it's not like that in China. This is what we're doing. Some people just don't get it and refuse to believe it. That was probably our first challenge, was coming to Liverpool with something that it means a lot. Chinese food means a huge amount to Scousers. It's in our culture, it's in our history. Yeah. Liverpool is Chinatown, do you know what I mean? We've got the oldest Chinese community in the Western world. We've got the biggest Chinese arch outside of China. The Chinese community is embedded in our kind of DNA here as Scousers. So, yeah, for us to go out to northern China and come back with this whole new style, difficult to begin with, immediately, straight away, difficult. Then we went into our first Christmas, had a good couple of months, and then boom, the bottom fell out. COVID had spread around the world, and it hit UK, and we had to close the doors, and we just went into overdrive, really. One thing you'll get to know about me is I just don't sit down for long. That's all. I can't. I just need to be on the go, always doing something. So first and foremost, I gathered the team together. We emptied out the fridges and freezers, and we went out into the community, and we dropped everything off to homeless shelters, food banks, wherever we could get the food in our fridges and freezers. We got it out to them. And but people saw us doing that and copied suit. And so lots of donations started going out into the community, which was great. And then we kind of sat down for half a day, and I was like, what can I do? I need to help somehow. I need to do something. It all started with a Facebook post. So put a Facebook post out basically saying, if you're struggling to get hold of anything, because you remember, you couldn't even get toilet roll, you couldn't get sanitizer, you couldn't get gloves. There was all the pasta went, you know what I mean? You got nothing. All the supermarkets just floundered. They weren't ready. You couldn't get delivery slots. It was just a mess, wasn't it? So, but I knew I had a phone book with all these guys in that delivered me my fish, my meat, my veg, my bread, my toilet rolls. I had them all on my phone. So I phoned them all up and said, if people need stuff, can you deliver to people's houses instead of going to restaurants? To which they were like, yes, we've got nowhere to go. We've got all this stock. Like, what are we going to do? So long story short, put a Facebook post out saying, if anyone needs any help, drop me a message. Here's my phone number. I can help you out. I can get you sorted. My phone didn't stop for like 4 days solid, like 12, 13 hours a day. It was ringing. and I was calling and just writing stuff down, phoning suppliers, getting things dropped off. Until at the end of that first week, I was like, I can't handle this. It's just too much.
Yeah.
So I organised myself. I got a website built. All the orders went through a website, and they all shot out to all these different suppliers, and it worked. And for a year and a half, we had Lids, the Liverpool Independent Delivered Services, delivering ingredients and products from 32 local businesses, all the way out across Merseyside. We were looking after nursing homes. We were looking after nurses in community centres. We were looking after schools, but mainly just delivering to people's houses that couldn't get anything, elderly people, sick people who couldn't get out, and just generally people who were enjoying buying local products and having them delivered to their doors. We managed to hire 8 drivers, I think it was, in the end. And these were taxi drivers and chauffeurs who had no work as well. I mean, and it was amazing. We made a big difference. Made a lot of people happy, and delivered loads of stuff. It was great fun. Busy, really busy. But it meant that we, as a team in here, all stayed in work. All helped out creating these boxes, getting the deliveries in, pushing them out. And that was really good. On the back of that, we also created another business called the Well-Fed Box, Wellness Food Education, which effectively was a HelloFresh box, but for underprivileged families and people without any money whatsoever. I would get the boxes sponsored and we'd get them delivered out across the Merseyside area as well. That was really cool, working with LFC Red Neighbours and Everton in the Community. Am I allowed to say that name on here, by the way? But yeah.
It's all for a good cause, and so it's fine.
Yeah, of course. It was really cool. But they were all great, and all these communities kind of came together, and all these projects came together to get these boxes out to everyone. On the back of that, we now have a registered charity called the Luban Foundation, which is all about education for young people, so children, young adults, teaching them about nutrition and food, basically, because we just think there's a gap in people's education about what they should be eating, why they should be eating it. We've continued that work right up until now. We've done something else. What did we do? Oh yeah, we raised. I wanted to feed children through lockdown because I was worried that the government had stopped meal vouchers, the school dinner vouchers. So through the holidays, we raised enough money to feed 5,000 children, just from Luban as well, which was a mental time, yeah. At Christmas time, we were making Christmas dinner boxes for people who might not be able to put a Christmas dinner on the table, and ended up doing 570 families. So again, you're looking at kind of 2,500 people there that we fed, and it was all just from getting donations from. It was donations from all across the world. It was Scousers living everywhere around the world sending money back to Liverpool to make sure people were getting fed, and I thought it was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal when it was happening. And I was watching donations coming in from like Canada, China, Spain, France, Italy, Ireland. I was just like, what is going on? Like, what's happening here? But although it was a terrible time for everyone, I think you got to see the best. You got to see the absolute best in people as well. So it was an interesting time for us as well. And if anything, I think it really kind of kept Luban visual. So people were like, there's that knobhead from Luban doing something else. Do you know what I mean? Sick of seeing his face now asking us for more money to feed the kids and stuff. But no, it was really good, and we ended up winning awards for it, which was never the intention, but always nice to be recognised for the hard work we put in. So, but like I said, it really did bring the best out of people, I think. So, yeah, we did a fair bit, didn't we?
I was gonna say that sounds like about 40 years of work that you've been doing in the past 3. Yeah. To be honest, I'm knackered just listening to that amount of work that you've been doing.
So much happened, honestly, that I can't remember so much of it. And everyone's going, oh, do you remember this? Do you remember that? And I'm like, no. Honestly, like, it's all a big blur because there's so much happening all at once. I was working round the clock right the way through lockdown. yeah, it was just mental, absolutely mental. So, but yeah, all good in the end. I think the restaurant survived, the community survived, and hopefully people are doing a bit better now than back then.
Yeah, well, it's amazing work. That's like proper inspirational. Like just to do stuff like that in a time when the government's failing and someone needs to step in. I mean, it shouldn't have came to that, but the fact that you've done that, Dave, that's just amazing
It
work.
was, it was one of them when you are looking around sometimes waiting for someone to do something, and you're like, come on, there's people with like bigger reach than me, there's people with money. I don't have money, do you know what I mean? But I was like, why aren't you guys doing stuff? And then I thought, if you want to make a change, it has to start with yourself. So I just went for it, and luckily people kind of bandied round. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's doing something good here, because I would have been a bit miffed if it was just me on my own. Do you know what I mean?
I think you'd still be boxing up those dinners if it was just you.
Now. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, still making them. Yeah, but like I said, luckily my team here supported me. The restaurant team got behind me, and then the rest of the community around us, supported us and helped us out. So again, it was good to see.
No, boss. And then just like you've obviously you mentioned winning awards, but like Luban's won a couple of awards as well recently, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So we've done in May of this year, we just done our first full year, because obviously, although we opened 3 years ago, we've only actually had 1 full year of trade, and it's been pretty successful for us. I'll come to the awards in a minute. We've managed to we've had a few TV appearances. I've done Great British Menu 2 years running now. Come Down With Me, The Professionals, we were on as well on Channel 4. A couple of Channel 5 shows, a couple of little mini documentaries I've filmed for Chinese TV as well. And that's all been really good in keeping the brand alive and keeping it moving. Released a cookbook in March or April, I think it might have come out. Released my first cookbook, which was great. And then, the awards ceremonies a few months ago. Firstly, won at the Tourism Awards in Liverpool, Best Restaurant in Liverpool, which is obviously fantastic. Really grateful for the judges picking us. And then the one which really kind of caught us off guard was we went through to the national finals. So the Visit England Awards, this is the tourism board for the country, voted us as the best restaurant in the country. So there we go. That was a massive shock. I was not expecting to win that. Up against the likes of Moor Hall and 2 Michelin star down the road there, and a handful of other Michelin star restaurants. We were in the kind of finals with them, and it was us, little Luban from Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? First time a Liverpool restaurant's ever won that award, by the way. So
wow.
Represent, you know what I mean? And just a huge deal. I think it's probably the first time a Chinese restaurant's ever won that award as well. So a couple of firsts there. Really happy with that. And then a handful of little awards, should we say, a couple of personal awards for myself for bits and pieces I did through lockdown, but I'm more about the team. So the restaurant one was the big one for us, to win Best Restaurant in England. Sorry, someone just tried to call me then. I've hung up.
Oh no, it's all right.
That was mind blowing and just massively humbling, because we put a lot of work in. We very nearly didn't survive, but to be out on the other side of it and to win that award is huge. So not a bad year all in, really.
No, it sounds. And you mentioned before about the have a word stuff, and I can't get enough of that shit. Like, they're just absolutely hilarious, aren't they? What was that like? That must have just been carnage.
So we did, first and foremost, Adam came and asked if he could do a food special. Sorry, it was Carl. Carl said, can we come and do a food special with you? And so I was like, right, okay, what does that involve? And effectively they all have very strange eating patterns and phobias and stuff, and it was basically a play on them. Feed them weird and wonderful stuff, and we'll just film all the reactions. So if you've not seen that, the food special, oh my god, it's in this room. Put it this way, there was lots of sick buckets being needed, and and I've never laughed so much in my life. I couldn't breathe. I was just tears pouring down my face, and they hadn't even started yet. It was because I knew what was coming. Absolutely amazing. The guys are just so funny. Dan Nightingale and Adam just cracked me up. I can't even look at the face without laughing. Do you know what I mean? So we did that one first. That was phenomenal. And then they said, listen, we've got an idea for another special. Can we do a takeover? And I was just like, I'm going to regret this, but yeah, why not? Ever since we've reopened our doors, I've been thinking outside the box. In fact, ever since we opened the doors for the first time through the pandemic and everything, I've had to be thinking outside the box. So I thought, you know why not? Do you know what I mean? Let's let them come in. There's like 14, 15 comedians and well-known faces from across that kind of that genre. They ran the bar, they ran the kitchen, they ran service out front, and I was just a bag of nerves at the back going, "Oh my God, please just don't kill anyone, and we'll be all right." Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And actually, it just went really well. It was great fun. They sold out tickets in about 70 seconds, I think. They sold over nearly 80 seats in the restaurant. The tickets in under like just over a minute, I think they said it was. So I was like, wow, that's the power of them. And yeah, people paid to come here, have a 3-course meal, cocktails made by Adam and Carl on the bar. Yeah, I had a team in the kitchen that I had basically an hour with to show them how to. I was going to say how to run a service for 80 people. And with a little bit of help, they made it through and no one died and everyone had a great experience. So, yeah, really funny.
Yeah,
we can laugh now about it anyway. I've put it behind me now and now I can laugh about it. On the day, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
Johnny Bongo was like 2 bottles of Buckfast down on the meat and fish section. Yeah. Pretty quick, just basically insulting anyone who came near him. One of my chefs, Dean, who has a podcast, I've seen it, the Mild High Club. If you've not seen that, they basically just get absolutely smashed on various narcotics. Well, he did that basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was good fun. And then Chef Akbar ran the pass as well. Ishan, he's brilliant. It was mental, absolutely mental, but great fun.
I know. I'd just love to like see your face just in the background, just going, "Oh fuck."
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see lots of that.
Can't wait for that.
Lots of clips of me going, "How's it going?" and basically me just going, "This is the worst day of my life."
Don't burn me restaurant down, basically.
Yeah. I'm glad we're still standing, and it was great fun. So yeah, good, really good.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see that. But yeah, just before we wrap up, then Dave, I don't want to take all night, even though I could just keep chatting all night about all different types of things. Just wanted to just talk about the charity stuff. So I saw it on Twitter. You've been doing like 200 press ups a day, is it? So that's in aid of charity and the Owen McVeigh Foundation as well, which is an amazing charity as well.
Yeah, so I saw it pop up, and I've done little challenges like this in the past. So the actual challenge from Cancer Research UK is to do 100 press-ups a day, and you raise money, and the money will go to Cancer Research UK. I've just recently been made an ambassador for the Owen McVeigh Foundation, and thought, you know what would be an amazing idea? Not so good idea, but anyway, let's not do 100 press-ups for Cancer Research UK. Let's do 200 press-ups, and I'll raise money for 2 charities at the same time. We're on day 7 now. Is it the 7th today or the 8th? I think it's the 7th.
7th, yeah.
So, and I'm sore. I'm not going to lie. I've been doing 200 press-ups a day.
Don't blame you.
I'm doing it in blocks of 50. So I'll get up in the morning and do 50 press-ups. Then I'll have like the coffee, a shower, breakfast, and then I'll go and do another 50 press-ups, and then I'll go off and do work. I'll try and get another set of 50 in, kind of in the middle of work somewhere in one of these rooms, and then I'll go home and do another 50 press-ups, and then have a shower and go to bed. So And yeah, it's tough because I'm also going to the gym kind of like 3 times a week, and I just have to do that on top of the gym. So, but it's great, and the money goes to some amazing causes, and yeah, I couldn't be happier where that money's going to. The Owen McVeigh Foundation's absolutely phenomenal. Check them out.
Yeah, I'll make sure I've got all the descriptions in the below, just for on YouTube and on the audio as well, just so you.
Yeah, we should probably talk about football at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, let's talk about footy then. To be honest,
we've got time. I'm settled in now. I'm comfy.
I got that sidetrack with food and that. I was just got a bit sidetracked with the food. But yeah, let's talk about Liverpool then.
Yeah, I've supported Liverpool since I was a child. My dad used to take me to the game. It was only ever on my birthday. It was my special treat. Do you know what I mean? So from a young age, yeah, I can't even remember. I remember the first game. I remember Bruce Grobbelaar being in goal, but I can't really remember much else about it. We played Man City at home, and we beat them 1-0, and that's all I remember, really. So if anyone knows what year that was, I can work out how old I was. But I think that was my first. I think that was my first game. My dad didn't want to take me when I was too small, and I was quite skinny and small as a kid. So, but then I used to go. Yeah, every January we'd go to a game for my birthday, and that was it. Really, obviously before then, used to watch the scores coming in. Show me age now. It used to be on teletext. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember that? You're younger than me, aren't you? You were like younger than me. You're like, no.
I'm 33, so I was just at that age where, like, when I was at 7 or 8, where I used to like 302 on the teletext.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so you watch the scores coming in. I used to listen on the radio, and then Match of the Day, obviously. So, but I used to love it. I had all the I had like the duvet set. I had all that stuff. I had my footy kit. I was never out of my footy kit. But yeah, so and then that's where it's grown really. I went on eventually when I was at Hope Street Hotel. I was obviously cooking for the Liverpool team for 4 years while I was there. So I got to see the kind of end of the Brendan Rodgers era into the Jurgen Klopp era before I left there to go to Manchester. So that was interesting because that's the first time you're talking to these guys every day, like they're in there in the morning, making their breakfast for them, afternoon, you see what they're eating, interacting with them as well. So, you're literally bumping into them in the lifts and stuff. And they normally slip you a few tickets as well. They'd only go in the game. And I was like, well, I wasn't, but I'm going now. Yeah, get off, get in a taxi, get all the way to the game, and then leg it and try and get back again for evening service. But it was nice, good, enjoyed that. Try and get the game, obviously with work, and it's pointless me having a season ticket. I'd never get there. I work every Saturday, most Sundays, so. But I do try and get to a few games a season. I went to Napoli. I went to Napoli the other day and took my little lad, and that was a good game as well. But yeah, obviously not a great start to the season, but I'm kind of of the mindset I've seen them win everything these last few years. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. My son's 7 and he's seen every trophy come home. Do you know what I mean?
I know, proper lucky, isn't he?
It's taken us years to see all this happen. It's all just happened recently. So I'm kind of like, well, do you know what? If there's a year or two of transition now, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? Yes, we could have invested more heavily, but I'm not going to get uppity about it. I'm not going to see my arse over it. It's football at the end of the day, and we've seen some amazing. We've had 4 or 5 years of just boss footy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trophies, but not even just the trophies. It was how we were playing, unbeaten at home for so long, and you're just like, this is great. This is a great time for football. And yes, it's a shame we've only won 1 Premier League, but you're competing against the greatest club ever in City at the moment. You can't deny it. They've got unlimited funds, great manager, great squad. To even win the league that's a super achievement for us to do that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm one of them. I'm like, okay, it's not been the best, but we've seen some awesome football recently. So yeah, let's just not be so spoiled, shall we? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I think that's it, isn't it?
Great win against Tottenham the other day. Again, how many people thought we'd go and get points away at Spurs after how we've been playing? Great first half. Second half, I just think they dug in and did what they needed to do. Edgy, wasn't it? Edgy.
The longest 45 minutes ever, that.
I've been there, though. We've seen some of them in the past. I always think back to, like, when people are saying, oh, bloody hell, look at this kicking. Like, they're all moaning about stuff. And I'm like, guys, I was there when we got battered up by Blackpool at home. Do you ever remember that under Kenny Dalglish? And we just got absolutely swatted by Blackpool. And I was just like, this is a new low, this. And then I've seen a few games during the Hodgson era, which were just like the worst football I've ever seen us play. It was like League One footy at Anfield. I was like, this is sad. This is sad times, this. So
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, I think it's positive, and I just think I think a few new faces coming in, and we'll be all right again. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. They've seen they put the club up for sale, apparently, taking off.
Yeah, that's breaking news today, isn't it? So I don't know what. I mean, they've worded the statement quite in a way where it's like we're looking it's not basically we're going to sell. It's like, oh, we're open to offers. So I don't know if that says to me there's someone interested.
I think they are. I think there is, and it makes sense. Listen, they bought the club for 300 million, wasn't it? Yeah. They've invested quite a bit in terms of structure. They have put money in for players. Maybe we would have liked a bit more, but what they've done is create a very viable business. We're not losing money anymore. We're generating money every year. It's a good, solid football club. Like, I'm not their massivest fans, but I'm also not going to slate them too much either. I think what they've done is good. Generally, as a whole, what they've done is good for the club. And in the last 5 years, you've seen the trophies coming in. It worked. And now they're looking to sell for about 3.5 billion or something.
Some return on the investment, isn't it?
Exactly that. But it does come down to the fact that these guys are business people. That's what they are. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's sad, but that's what football is these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think
business.
To be competing with, like you said, the cities and whatever, it's just that hard, because if you spend time on social media, like there's loads of like FSG out, like people on Twitter, and it's just like, so who do you want instead? And it's like you don't know the answer to that, because it's either we basically wanted an FSG that'll invest money. We don't ideally we don't want to be run by like a City owner or a Newcastle owner, because I think it goes against the values of what Liverpool is. So it's trying to strike that fine balance, like trying to be a viable business, but also trying to put money back into the squad, because we've definitely needed it this year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And that's where we fell down. I think what they've done over the last few years, they've exhausted themselves, and they've all got older, and we've not really invested in that next layer down, the players who are breaking through. We've got a big gap between our kind of aging first teamers and the youngsters who are breaking through. There's a massive gap in age, and there really shouldn't be. Whereas all the kind of 24, 25-year-olds to 26-year-olds just about to hit the prime, they're not there. We don't have them. Yeah. So now they're going to have to spend a fortune, whoever comes in next, buying players in their prime or about to hit their prime, which again goes against our model, really, doesn't it? So, but yeah, like you said, it's a tough question, and I don't have the answers for that. That's who do we bring in next? It's one of them. We don't want the like you said, you don't want those oil families, should we say, because we're worried about the ethics from the countries they're from, the Qatar, the Saudi Arabias, but that's where all the money is. And if you want us to compete with the likes of Man City, then it's one of them, isn't it? We can either be happy with what we've got, and we've won these trophies, but we're probably not going to see that again with this layer of money, or we go and bring in a big investor, and we kind of squint our eyes to where the money's coming from and what's happening over there. It's a tough call, isn't it? What do you want? Yeah. What do you want most from your football club? So, yeah, I certainly don't have the answers, but it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, but like, I think it's just mad the way it like kind of came out. Like about half an hour after the draw, we got drawn against Real Madrid,
Yeah.
and half an hour later, FSG are
I went up for
pumping out
sale.
statements. They're like, "Oh, fucking hell, Real Madrid again, swear this."
Yeah. I think we can do Real Madrid over 2 legs. So
I do.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Everyone's like, "Oh, look, you got Real Madrid." If you're gonna win the Champions League, you've got to beat Real Madrid. That's, you know what I mean. Or whoever gets put in front of you, you have to beat them. That's it. Doesn't really matter what order they come in. You just have to beat them. So I think there's enough. We've got enough in our squad to beat Real Madrid over 2 days, over 2 matches. We just need them to turn up, don't we? Really, yeah. If you can get the best out of them, they'll beat Real Madrid over 2 matches.
Yeah, and I think with the likes of maybe Jota being back, Diaz being back, if they want to sign someone in January, if we've got new owners by then, probably not. But you just never know. So there's a lot can change between that's like February at the first leg. So it's fucking ages away, isn't it? So,
yeah, a long time.
A long time to wait.
Got a World Cup to fit in there somehow.
I know. I don't know. I wasn't looking forward to the World Cup because I thought at the start of the season, I was like, oh, what if Liverpool are just smashing everyone? The World Cup comes along and then like derails our season. But it's in fact the actual opposite. Now I'm like, bring on the World Cup.
Now we really wanted to derail. Yeah. Please derail our current form.
Yeah, put us back on the rail.
Get us back, shunt us back onto the rails. That'd be good. Derail everyone else. Please. Yeah.
Oh, boss Dave, that was really good. That nice one for jumping on. We'll leave it there because I know your arm must be aching holding your phone as well. So I don't want you to. I know you've been doing them press
up
as well.
As well. Do you know what I mean?
I was gonna say. But no, really appreciate it, Dave. If anyone watching or listening hasn't been down to Luban, and I'm one to say anything, I haven't been yet, but I will be going very shortly, and I've seen loads of people saying it's boss, and obviously Dave's a great fella. His credentials speak for themselves in terms of what he's done and what he's created. So if you're ever in Liverpool, get yourself down to Luban and have a boss experience. And I'll be definitely getting down there shortly. It's just by the Baltic, isn't it? Stanhope Street.
Yeah, so we're actually in the Keynes Brewery Village. So we have to come into the Keynes Brewery Village, and we're in this beautiful old sandstone building, the old Higson's Brewery building, through the Punch Tommy's courtyard. So head on down and head through this massive Guinness gate, come through there, and you'll be trying to transport it into this beautiful restaurant. So you won't be disappointed.
Boss, but Dave, really appreciate your time for jumping on and stuff. Really appreciate it.
It's all right. Love being on. Thanks very much for having me.
No worries. I just wanted to, if you're watching on YouTube, then do like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify and all that, then leave us a rating or a review if you're feeling generous. And we'll leave it there. Nice one again, Dave. And we'll see you all very soon.